But let's focus on what we know in tonight's preamble. We know there will be no blue wave. We know it's likely the Senate will remain in Republican hands. We know the mainstream pollsters are not credible. They are committed liberals, designing their polls not to reflect public opinion, but to discourage those who would oppose liberals from partaking in the vote. Fox News pollsters were reporting that Nancy Pelosi would build her anti-American majority in the House by +5. But after the voting, the RCP average reveals that the GOP will add 8 to 13 new Republicans to counter that socialist push of the Democrats. While I'm on the topic of Fox News, Arnon Mishkin, along with Never Trumper Chris Stirewalt, headed up the Fox News decision desk. Now, Stirewalt's opposition to all things Trump is well chronicled. Mishkin, not so much. Reports say that Mishkin worked with David Garth, a legendary New York political consultant. Their consultancy catered to mostly Democrats like John Lindsay, a Democrat, U.S. Congressman, Mayor of New York, and candidate for president. Ella Grasso, Democrat, Governor of Connecticut. Brendan Byrne, Democrat, Governor of New Jersey. Ed Koch, Democrat, Mayor of New York, and U.S. Congressman. And also the gun-grabbing Mike Bloomberg, a Democrat and former mayor of New York City. Fox called Virginia nearly immediately for Biden and waited for hours to declare Texas and Florida for the president. As an aside, Newsmax was first to call Florida for the president. We recognized early that he had built more support in Florida than he had in 2016. There was no reason why Fox couldn't see that same data. Fox called Arizona for Beijing Biden. Many other news agencies, including Newsmax and RCP, have not done so quite yet. That call sent shockwaves among conservative circles all over the country. Not even Fox could ignore the blowback.
And joining us once again right now, Tucker Carlson. Tucker, there has been pushback to our call for Arizona to be in the Biden column, and my phone is lighting up with Republicans saying you can't do it. And you just heard me kind of grill Chris Stirewalt on that. They're standing by that call as of this hour.
Yeah, I mean, there's been a great deal of pushback from the president, his staff, the governor of Arizona, apparently more than 1 million ballots still to be counted. I'm not privy to the math. I'm not certain how that, even after the explanation from Chris Stirewalt, how that decision was made. So I'm sure there was a reason for it. I don't know.
Yeah, I can tell you why. In my opinion, Fox was in a rush to provide a narrative for a Biden landslide victory in an effort to force Trump to prematurely concede. The Never-Trumpers and Democrat enablers who were running the Fox decision desk remember the concession of Al Gore back in the year 2000 and were determined not to repeat that mistake. Think about the narrative from the rest of the biased press, though. From places like CNN and MSNBS, even Fox, Trump's favorite network, is saying it's over. It wasn't just us who noticed. The American people also took notice of the Fox News anti-Trump agenda on election night. Country star Travis Tritt tweeting, quote, "No matter what the final results are tonight, one thing is extremely clear. At Fox News can no longer claim to be the fair and balanced network they once were. They are a lot of biased hacks. There are now a ton of folks noticing. It's now at Newsmax for me for election results." A New York Times bestselling author Eric Metaxas tweeting, quote, "Breaking, I'm calling at Newsmax over the incumbent at Fox News with just my family and some Twitter people I follow reporting." And lastly, fellow conservative talk show host Sebastian Gorka simply opined that, quote, "biggest loser so far could be Fox News, question mark." Those of us committed to just getting to the truth and not trying to formulate a narrative, well, we remain focused on what we know and what we would like answers to. For example, how do upward of 200,000 votes come in during the overnight hours in Michigan that are nearly exclusively for Joe Biden? Similar question and phenomenon was observed in neighboring Wisconsin during the overnight hours. The Trump campaign smells something fishy. They are requesting a recount in Wisconsin. Nearly immediately after the request was made, that's when Fox News declared Wisconsin for Biden. This whole situation reminds me of the Obama election in 2012 when CBS News reported the statistical impossibility of a result in dozens of urban precincts in Pennsylvania where Mitt Romney earned literally 0 votes. These questions need to be answered, and they need to be answered fast. However, I don't think we can look to the Fox News decision desk to do much digging.